Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Board of Supervisors meeting for Thursday, October 19th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We had one executive session at the end of our last meeting, October 5th. In specific, it was for personnel for the roadmaster position. Past meeting minutes for approval.
Excuse me, page 2, I see something, meeting minutes. Halfway down, Chairman Muir made a motion to prepare and have out the first to revise township code to remove the industrial zoning district. And the second to repeal the entirety, but to remove the industrial zoning, I don't think you want to say that, do you?
That's what the motion was.
The page, light industrial off the books.
Off Florida, yes, that's what the motion was for.
Oh, it doesn't, I didn't read it that way, it just says to remove those.
So it's removed.
Industrial zoning district, that's number 1, and the second is to remove Florida. Sounds like 2 different things, 1 and 2.
Correct, the motion was in the alternative, members of the board, the minutes are accurate.
Yep. We were advertising 2 different things.
Not for tonight.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Got another question, Doug Maxson, page 2. I don't remember ever commenting on township marketing. I think somebody has that all messed up.
Somebody was talking about marketing.
Marketing township.
It wasn't me.
I was the one who made the comments about the plan from 2018 into 19 involved marketing the township.
Thank you, RC.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes with the change from Doug Mackley to RC, East Cocalico Township, commenting on township marketing. Motion on the table.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Next up under action items, we have the chief of police appointment. After our discussion amongst the board for the position, the open position of chief of police, we have made the decision to make an offer to Sergeant or Interim Chief Savage. He accepted, so that brings us here to the table tonight to appoint him if the motion passes. You guys have anything to add or say right now?
Not at this point.
Okay. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Stephen C. Savage as Chief of Police for East Cocalico Township, effective October 20th, 2023, and to approve an agreement as to the terms of employment dated September 25th, 2023.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. At this time, if you could come forward, please, and we can take care of the office. All right, put your right hand up, please. Repeat after me. I, Stephen C. Savage,
I, Stephen C. Savage,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge
and
and I will discharge
the duties of
the duties of
Chief of Police
Chief of Police
in East Cocalico Township,
in East Cocalico Township,
Lancashire County,
Lancaster County,
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations, sir. Mr. John Savage, would please come forward to pin Chief Savage, please.
Poke him really hard.
You're good.
Lorenzo, did you flush? All the officers flush?
If I could just have an opportunity to address the Board of Supervisors and the public. I know it's a long agenda.
Can I beat you first? Sure. I had to write it down. Chief Savage, I thank you for your 23+ years of service to the residents and businesses of East Cocalico Township. It's been a privilege working with you in the past year while you've been our interim chief. Thanks for stepping up. I'm confident with your level of professionalism and leadership, you are the right person for this important position. I'd like to officially congratulate you as our new Chief of Police for East Cocalico Township.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to thank the East Cocalico Township Board of Supervisors for having shown the confidence in me for appointing me as Chief of Police. Secondly, I'd like to thank all the officers, even the retired officers that are here tonight, not just for being here, but also for all your support during this transition. And lastly, I'd like to thank my wife, Emmy, for supporting me for the last 24 years. The hours, the odd shifts, the stress, the missed holidays, birthdays, and everything else that goes with the job takes a huge toll on family life sometimes. And I'm fortunate that I have such a great supportive family. As I step into this position, I'm aware of the challenges ahead and the responsibilities of leading our police force. I'm confident in my leadership abilities to fulfill this obligation. My vision for this department is to provide the highest quality police services, support and resources to our community, and to instill my core factors and to lead by example. Those core factors are integrity. We conduct ourselves with uncompromised honesty, honor, and ethics. Courage, selfless devotion to duty, taking action in the face of danger, and holding ourselves and our peers to the highest ethical standards. And professionalism. We are accountable to ourselves and the public for the quality of our service, and we seek to continually improve ourselves, our department, and our community relationships. I would like to make a pledge to our residents and to our business community that we are committed to working with you to keep our community a safe place to live and work. And I'm honored and humbled to lead this police department, and I pledge to do my best to make a positive difference in the lives of the people that we serve. Thank you.
Any comments, questions? Thank you. Moving on to our Public Works Director ratification.
For the board's consideration this evening, ratification of full-time hire, Public Works Director. Abe Stick has served as our interim Public Works Director for the last several months. He's done an outstanding job, as you know. He recently retired from a position with a major contractor. He was with for 20 years, fluent in all aspects of infrastructure, and has formal training with heavy equipment and mechanics. So for the board this evening, ratification of the position of Public Works Director.
You guys have any questions?
None from me.
All right, this time I'd like to make a motion to ratify the hire of Abraham D. Stick as Public Works Director for East Cocalico Township effective October 23rd, 2023, subject to the terms set forth in a conditional offer of employment dated October 16th, 2023.
No, I will second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. This time I'd like to turn the meeting over to our solicitor for the public hearings.
Thank you. Excuse me. Members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, we will now convene a series of public hearings, all of which are within the legislative authority of the Board of Supervisors. All of them have been advertised and appropriate public notice given, which would include, in some cases, posting properties and providing notices to individual members of the community as the code and zoning ordinance require. The instructions that I'll give will apply to all 4 of the legislative hearings. These hearings are not, as I've said before, administrative hearings where testimony is presented under an oath or an affirmation. They are legislative hearings where testimony is presented in the form of public comment. We do have a stenographer here this evening who will be taking down the comments made and will produce a permanent record transcript of that, so I ask that you bear that in mind and limit it to one person talking at a time so that the stenographer can do that for us. The first hearing is consideration of adoption of ordinance 2023-03. It is a request for rezoning. It, if adopted, would amend the official zoning map of East Cocalico Township and rezone portions of certain properties at North Reading Road and Wabash Road from suburban residential zone and general commercial zone to light industrial, and from general commercial zone to the suburban residential zone. And Claudia Schenck is here on behalf of the petitioner.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm just going to hand out a packet of exhibits that I'll refer to as we're talking here. So I am Claudia Schenck. I'm an attorney with McNeese, Wallace & Norick. I'm here this evening on behalf of Cherry Place Properties, LP, which is the applicant in this matter. Cherry Place Properties is an affiliate of Four Seasons Produce, which is a full-service wholesale produce distributor, as I know the board is all well familiar. A business that's been in your community for many years. The founder of the business, David Hollinger, is here with me this evening. Their primary location is at 400 Wabash Road in the township. The first page of the packet that I handed out to you is an area map that shows all of the properties that we're going to be discussing this evening. But the 400 Wabash Road property is in the bottom left map. That's a 48-acre property northwest of the intersection of North Reading and Wabash Road, and it's currently zoned light industrial. Four Seasons, or its affiliate Cherry Place Properties, also owns approximately 5-acre property opposite side of Wabash Road from the large Four Seasons plant. which is zoned general commercial. An opportunity became available for Four Seasons and Cherry Place to acquire some land from CMS East LLC. They're the owners of the Memory Garden Cemetery that is on the opposite side of the road from the Four Seasons plant. The land that they're seeking to acquire includes a 0.4 acre tract, which is improved with a residential structure that's currently used as office space by Memory Gardens. And Memory Gardens also has a larger 40 acre tract where they have a cemetery, and that they have proposed to sell off about 13.7 acres to Four Seasons, in addition to the 0.4 acre property. The way that your zoning map currently looks is depicted on the second page of your packet. So the majority of the Memory Gardens property is in suburban residential. The 0.4 acre tract is in general commercial, and the Four Seasons property located at the northeast intersection of North Reading Road is zoned general commercial. What you have basically now is a strip of general commercial that runs along North Reading Road to the east of Wabash Road. So if you turn to the third page in your packet, you'll see what we're proposing in terms of the rezoning of these properties. We're proposing essentially to rezone the 0.4 acre tract that we would be acquiring from Memory Gardens, as well as the 13.7 acres that we're acquiring from Memory Gardens to light industrial, which again would be consistent with the light industrial zoning that Four Seasons has currently. There is a very small strip of land along that 0.4 acre residential property that we would actually be leaving with Memory Gardens and zoning back to suburban residential, just so that we can have basically a straight right angle for the property line coming off of Wabash Road. We are going to consolidate, or we're proposing to consolidate, the property that Four Seasons currently owns at the intersection there, the 5 acre property with the 0.4 acre property and the 13 acres that we're acquiring from Memory Gardens. So that would be one single parcel there on the east of Wabash Road. In terms of the history of this project, we've been working on this for a number of months now. We did first make an informal presentation to the board in February of this year. We then submitted our zoning petition. We did receive a recommendation of approval on June 14th from the Lancaster County Planning Commission. We then received a recommendation of approval from your Township Planning Commission on June 26th. And we actually have taken the step of submitting a lot consolidation and subdivision plan to the township for review in hopes that the board would approve the petition this evening to allow that to move forward.
So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hollinger. If he could just make a few brief remarks about his intentions with regard to this property and why Four Seasons is looking to acquire it.
Claudia, while Mr. Hollinger is preparing, do you agree and have already stated some explanation that if the board were to adopt this ordinance this evening, it authorizes Four Seasons to do nothing, to acquire nothing, to sell nothing. It just allows you to apply for the approvals to do that.
Absolutely.
And that would be, as a first step, this subdivision lot consolidation plan.
And in fact, as you'll hear Mr. Hollinger say, we have no plans for the development of this property at this point in time. Really, this is about securing additional real estate in and around the existing plant.
Thank you. Mr.
I'll just read these notes.
Sir, would you state your name for the record?
I'm sorry, David Hollinger. Four Seasons Produce is constrained in our ability to expand at 400 Wabash Road. Our company has been in business for 47 years and is deeply rooted in our community here. We had our first 10 years behind Underwood Insurance, 17 years where Dentech is, and now 18 years where we are now. I guess 47. Right? We want to remain, of course, and expand in our community. So when this land became available, we thought it was important for us to buy it for future expansion. Although Four Seasons has no current development plans for the land, we can confirm that when we develop the property, it will be consistent with what we already have done in the past, according to our high standards that we hold ourselves to. and what the township and the community has come to expect from us. Any questions for the use of the land?
So we're happy to answer any questions the board has. That is all that we have for you in terms of our presentation.
At one point, I had heard, I think, Claudia, I don't know if you were here with Mr. Hollinger, you guys presented this. I thought I had heard about a truck parking for trailers or on this property, or?
At this point, there are no concrete plans. I mean, we do have the facility that's there now. As far as plans for the future, I don't know if David has anything.
I can speak to that. When we put this last addition on, we had to make it smaller than we originally planned to allow truck parking across the back. And so we have provided enough parking on the current facility for the building we have there. So this is for a future expansion. It could be truck parking, it could be additional building. There's no plans, but it could be one or the other.
Members of the board, if you don't have any questions at this point, you may have later, but we should invite public comment on this ordinance.
Any public comment, please state your name. Yes, sir.
Doug Mackley,
Would you
What?
spell your last name for me?
Mackley.
Thank you.
I'm reading this text, and it's attached to the memo from the Lancaster County Planning Commission. And I'm a little, I don't know how to take this, but they're tying the Lancaster County Planning Commission reviewed 3 proposals. And this text that you're doing, as I see it, would tie all 3 of those together. Well,
The Lancaster County Planning Commission review letter reviewed 3 different ordinances.
right,
Item number 1 on that letter refers to what we discussed.
okay, that's what's missing, item 1, it doesn't state that. It doesn't state that in here, in your ordinance, that it only pertains to item 1. Because item 2 is the Lancaster County Planning Commission denied that.
The review letter is not part of the ordinance, and the ordinance does not need to reference the review letter.
And I understand that, and I understand we have our own planning commission, but Lancaster County has a planning commission, and they're trying to develop this place as 2040. And all I'm asking is, this ordinance doesn't tie us down to item 2 of denial by the Lancaster County Planning Commission.
In lieu of issuing 3 separate review letters, the county decided to issue 1 review letter that covers 3 different applications.
Okay. Thank you.
You don't see it on your packet. I'm seeing it here as you. We're talking about item 1, so it's highlighted. As we scroll down, item 2 will be highlighted.
And that's fine, I just wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Any other questions for the petitioner?
Is there a question for the board? Definitely. So I have a question for the board, specifically for Lorenzo at this point. There was a lot of discussion in the last couple of meetings about rezoning for industrial, rezoning for warehousing, rezoning for getting away from commercial, okay? I made my position very, very clear consistently, many, many times, that I'm a big believer in with the financial hurdles that East Cocalico faces in the future, that any growth we can get, we need to get our hands on that growth. Be it warehousing, be it commercial, be it industrial, light industrial, wherever we can get it, we need to get it. You had indicated in those meetings that you had no appetite for rezoning into industrial.
Correct.
Okay, so I think this is a point where, I hate to say it, but I think you need to kind of clarify your thoughts here. When there's a project here like this, to me, that makes a lot of sense, but your comments from the past were pretty darn clear.
They were clear. They were clear. And I know that question was gonna come up from you or someone, and when I saw this come across last week, thankfully I had a little over a week to think about how I was gonna answer that question. And the answer I came up with is, you're absolutely right about light industrial, and each property is unique in its own way. Four Seasons owns, well, Sunrise Logistic owns that corner, and it was previously stated they needed more room. They had said about truck parking, like I just mentioned before. They had said about making that turn a little better, or redoing Sunrise Logistics eventually, if that. And I feel, Mr. Hollinger just said himself how long he's been here and always giving back to this community, and we kind of know what we're getting per se out of this particular business. And by shutting something like this down, you're shutting it down for them to expand in the future. I'm not acquiring property X and proposing a rezone for a brand new warehouse. So like I just said, I think this property, like all other properties across East Cocalico, every property is unique in its own individual way.
So help me understand from the public's perspective clearly, clarifying exactly then what your thoughts are. Is it based on property, based on businesses that have been established? Is it based on tenure within the municipality? Because mine is based off of financials. The financials for the community, in terms of where the growth is available, we should absolutely take advantage of it. Been saying that for 6 years.
I think it's pretty much everything you just hit. And if I have the opportunity to state my concern on any other properties that I don't agree upon, I'd gladly say. This particular one doesn't. I see a local business that's trying to grow, and they're purchasing property next to them, and that's great. But we haven't voted yet.
No, we
haven't voted, just discussed.
And that's why I'm asking you for your thoughts to clarify. You're very, very, and I appreciate that, you're very stern, very specific comments from the last 2 or 3 meetings.
Probably 4.
Yeah, you're
Probably
right.
4 or 5 meetings. I'm not gonna hide and say I didn't. Clearly stating I did.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything?
I agree with some of your thoughts, and I don't agree with some of the things you've said in the past. This municipality, I'm out there a lot, talking to people throughout the municipality. In a different point of view from where you are, people in this community just do not want any piece of concrete that's available. For a long time, they've been talking about
what they'd like to see in the community. You know, they've been talking about shopping. We had a long conversation in the last meeting about why we don't have shopping opportunities in this township that are in the township right next to us. But that's one of the things I continue to hear. Still, years and years and years, why don't we have more shopping opportunities in this township? And, you know, I'm just not buying into any piece of concrete is a good one. If that makes sense now. I think there's some discretion needs to be used from time to time. There's properties that make sense to have developed in certain ways, other ones that don't. But that's my outlook on future growth and development in the township. And I think at different times I've made that known. Is that fair?
You can say whatever you want. There ain't no law to what you can say.
Well, that's where I come from.
I believe I'm at the point that I would like to make a motion.
Move to close the hearing.
So let's move to close that hearing. I'll move to close the hearing.
I'll second that.
Has everybody been heard?
I have one more question. All
I figured
right.
there'd be something else. Go
Well,
ahead.
I'm just like you.
That's fine.
Name, please.
Doug Mackley. Lorenzo, you sat up there and you admitted it, and everybody that's been here on a regular basis knows that you're against warehouses, period, end of conversation. That's being blunt. But now you're proposing the zone area back to warehouse. I, for one, don't understand it. Not against Mr. Hollinger. I'm against what you said. You made a comment in a public meeting many times. I don't want to see this place turn into a Carlisle. Well, I don't think it'll ever come into that. If you've been in Leesport, they put Carlisle to bed. Leesport is full of big warehouses. I don't think that's ever going to happen here. We don't have the size of land that those two guys need. But again, you as chairman said, I'm against warehousing. I don't want to see that. I want to see more commercial. Now you're flipping the coin and saying, yeah, let's go ahead and put warehousing in. I want this warehousing allowed.
Members of the board, to be clear, you're not rezoning for any particular purpose.
I didn't say that.
You're rezoning for anything permitted in the light industrial district. Just so no one is mistaken by that. There's no plan, and there can be no plan connected with this rezoning. Any permitted use in the light industrial district is a possibility if you adopt this ordinance.
And Matt, begging your pardon, I still had the floor. I wasn't talking about that. I know you can't do that, but once you open this up, you have created the ability to turn every piece of light industrial property in this township into warehouse. All I'm saying is you didn't want it. Now you do. Which ball is it?
There's a motion on the floor to close the hearing.
I made a second, motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And now it would be a motion, if anybody wishes to make a motion, it could be a motion to adopt or a motion to deny.
I will make a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-03 to amend the official zoning map of East Cocalico Township to rezone portions of certain properties at North Reading Road and Wabash Road from suburban residential zone and general commercial zone to light industrial zone, and from the general commercial zone to the suburban residential zone.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No. Motion carries 2-1.
So members of the board, we have advertised and provided public notice for consideration of ordinance 2023-04, which is an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of East Cocalico Township to rezone a property on Boundsville Road from the suburban residential zone to the mobile home park residential zone. There is another ordinance that would be under consideration this evening that is not inconsistent with this ordinance, but is somewhat related to the proposal that has been discussed in connection with ordinance number 4 of 2023, but we are only at this time convening the hearing on 2023-04, which is the rezoning request, and Jennifer Medina is here on behalf of the petitioner.
Good evening. Do my up and down, progressive yet. You notice, does address both hearings, as both of the hearings involve my client, and they would have the same exhibits. So I've listed those on the cover page. Thank you. And as Matt stated, my name is Jennifer McKeon, and I'm here with the applicant for this hearing, and then it would also be the advertised hearing that was for ordinance 200305. Both of those involve Hardy LLC, and that's Hardy Turner, who is the owner of the property, and he is with us this evening. Very simply put, the request is to expand an existing mobile home park on South Hill Road that's been in existence for over 50 years. It is a 19.72 acre property. Currently, about 5 acres are being used for a mobile home park, and the request is to expand. What I would like to, in your packet of exhibits, basically it has a review letter from the Lancaster County Planning Commission. Then I did set forth the requirements that Mr. Turner and any property owner that would have that property would need to meet for a special exception if this was allowed to go forward. Because our request, similar to the prior hearing, would not allow development unfettered. It would allow the applicant to have permission to go to special exception. And if that person went to a special exception hearing for the zoning hearing board, they would have to show that they could meet the parameters of your existing mobile home ordinance in order to develop the site.
That would be the next administrative step if this ordinance were to be adopted.
Correct.
And then after that, that would be everything connected with the development.
The land development, the stormwater, which is always an issue, and traffic, that would be an issue as well. So yes, this would be the first step in allowing them to go the next 2 steps in the process. And then the other thing I have, which is 2 maps, one showing you where the location is on the map. I think you're very aware of that, and noting that it's in your urban growth boundary area. And then there is a sketch plan that's included. I believe everyone on the board has seen this before, but basically they're looking at a potential expansion of 45 sites, if they could. Actually, the thing that I would like to address most, because I think that it is probably most relevant with the board at this point, is the reason that I'm here with an applicant with 2 applications pending before you. And that is what you have in terms of the Lancaster County Planning Commission letter. As I believe might have been noted, the Lancaster County Planning Commission reviewed this. This is the application where we came in and said, we have an existing mobile home park. Your mobile home ordinance allowed, even at the time that it was in existence, for recognition of these and just expansion. And what we felt made sense on the site was just to expand that in-private mobile home park under that provision. Lancaster County reviewed our plan, and the Planning Commission said, we don't feel that that's the best way to go. But what I think is really worth noting is they didn't say you shouldn't allow mobile home parks by special exception. What they said is you should allow them, but under a different provision. So I would just note that under the language, and forgive me, I'm trying not to confuse the two hearings, but they are so interrelated that
It's appropriate
be addressed.
comment.
So, I would note that, and I highlighted the sections for the board that we thought were relevant. The one thing I would note is that in the recommendation, it says that mobile homes are a key housing operation to address the zoning nonconformity, which is presently existing in the mobile home park, which is current, while also continuing to offer a greater variety of uses in the R1 zoning. What the LCPD is suggesting is that East Cocalico amend the zoning ordinance to permit existing mobile home parks by right and allow for new or expanded mobile home parks. So, and I raise that only because by special exception. So their recommendation is actually to allow mobile home parks by special exception. Now, clearly, you're not bound by that recommendation, but I just wanted to clarify that that's what it is. So if we went under our proposal, which would be, this application is before you now, which would say, here's the zoning area, and we're expanding the map to include this by the mobile home park, it would be allowed by special exception. If we look at what the Lancaster County Planning Commission is recommending, which would be a text amendment to allow existing mobile home parks in the residential suburban district and to allow an expansion of a mobile home park by special exception. It's essentially two ways of getting to the same result. They would both allow mobile home park that we're discussing right now to be a permitted use by special exception. So,
Did the Township Planning Commission have an opportunity to review, and what did they review?
They did, and it was a vote of, correct me if I'm wrong, 4-1, that in approval of the rezoning. And then we also came up with the idea to do the alternative. So they were in approval of granting the special exception. The one negative vote, and I don't want to misspeak for anything, but I do think that there was a lot of discussion, rightfully so, about Lancaster County Planning Commission, about the long-term plan. And I can tell you the difference in the plan is, one, if you go under the mobile home park zoning ordinance right now, single-family residents are allowed, but they're only at 5 per acre. If you go under the residential suburban district, it's 4.3 per acre. So there's a density difference there. And the second distance, and this is what the Lancaster County Planning Commission noted, was there's the village overlay district that is allowed in a residential suburban zoning district. And that would not be allowed if you changed it to a mobile home park. Now, I will tell you frankly, the reason that we didn't address that is because, and I do have John Pure here with me, from Pure Associates Engineering. From a practical perspective, we don't believe that a 19-acre site could be developed as a village overlay district. There's just simply not enough land there to do so. It's not on 272, it's not on Ray Road. And so, it's not that Mr. Turner is opposed to that, it's just when we were submitting the application, we did not feel as though that site was going to be proper for that.
The petition to rezone is a more focused request. It affects only this approximate 20-acre parcel.
That it is, that's why we felt that it was, when we were preparing the application to submit it, that it frankly gave the township a little bit more control because you're only dealing with this particular parcel. Again, my client would have no objection we don't object to the Lancaster County Planning Commission's suggestion either.
Rezoning would make the existing use a conforming use,
Correct,
and then would permit the expansion by special exception.
correct.
Neither of which, of course, as you said, is before the board this evening, but the effect of making the existing mobile home park a non-conforming use is a practical consequence of the rezoning.
Correct.
Rest of the board, it is a little confusing whenever we're presented with alternatives, but again, this ordinance would be focused on the approximate 20-acre parcel and only that approximate 20-acre parcel. Questions for Ms. Medea or Mr. Fuhrer or Mr. Turner, all of whom are present?
Ms. Mayor, just, the Lancaster County planning, the place is 2040. I think the spirit of it, as you referenced, was with larger tracts of land per each residential unit. It just takes up so much land. That's why the spirit of it is trying to create, I agree with what you're saying, is trying to create more density for each acre of land.
Right.
To address a lot of the problems we have on the housing side.
Right, yeah, and that's exactly right. And I mean, Mr. Turner wouldn't be opposed to having the density, but the problem is a 19-acre, certainly the village overlay. Village overlay, for example, a few things they require 3 parking spaces per unit. They require front porches. They require a mixed use. 19 acres is just not sufficient to make that work. So really that takes you down to the issue of the residential house and the density between those two. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand the purpose. You know, we think that, as I think the board recognized last time we were here, having mobile home parks, having the accessibility. I do a lot of divorce work as well. People do really have a sense of home ownership when they buy these homes. You know, so it provides for a market that's out there. You know, but certainly we're trying to present this and develop it, or have it presented in a way that's as close to compliance with the county plan as it can be.
Public comment.
Please state your name, public comment. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Steve Brubaker. Council, just to clarify, the public hearing is for ordinance 2023-04, correct? And not for ordinance 2023-05.
No, 05 will be coming up next.
Correct. It was very confusing because what the applicant's lawyer was talking about was 2023-05, the special exception. So I just wanted to clarify that we're speaking about ordinance 2023-04,
The rezoning.
which is the rezoning of the suburban residential, the 19.72 acres, 20 acres rounded up, to mobile home park.
Correct.
Okay, all right, just as long as we're on the same page. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. So, I just want to, and I was the one person that was opposing on the planning commission, the applicant's proposal. I'm sorry. Thank you. I'd be in good arms if I could. Thank you. I want to make a disclaimer, and that disclaimer is I am not against the applicant's proposal for developing his land, his property. Actually, I'm a huge proponent for growth and development in East Cocalico Township. I sit on the planning commission with Don Miller, who's a planning commission member. What I am opposed, though, to is the applicant's proposal to change to a mobile home park. Now, we have a saying in this township, and that saying, that tagline is community first. We have it on our police cruisers. I think it's on our public works vehicles, is it? Okay. We have that tagline for a certain reason. What is the best solution for the community? And that goes to housing also. What is the best solution in housing for the community? I've heard all the members on the Board of Supervisors talk about community first. Community first, community first, community first. Mr. Bernero, I've heard you use it. Mr. Mitchell, you've used it. RC, you have used it as well. That came out of, in 2018, the strategic plan that the Board of Supervisors at that time voted on and adopted for East Cocalico Township. At this time, I'd just like to recognize the supervisors that were on the board at that time who came up with that strategic plan, Mr. Doug Mackley, Mr. Alan Fry, Mr. R.C. Carrasco. I applaud you and I thank you for your efforts to push that through for the township. So, the next phase that came from the strategic plan in 2018, and it's before the board tonight, is the comprehensive plan for the Cocalico area region. And that was developed by 4 municipalities. I'm just going to give a quick synopsis here. I don't want to dominate the time. That was developed for about a year and a half in the making. 4 different municipalities getting together: Adamstown Borough, Denver Borough, West Cocalico Township, East Cocalico Township. Officials from all 4 municipalities, as well as volunteers, sat down and developed what I have in my hand right now, the comprehensive plan. In that comprehensive plan, one of the things that was discussed was housing and what is best for each municipality. Well, that was a lengthy discussion, so much so that a survey went out to township residents. And I think there was somewhere between 250 responses to 300 as to what folks wanted as far as housing goes. And in the comprehensive plan, I'm just going to read a little bit about what came out of that survey. And pardon my back.
Oh, you're
sorry.
perfectly fine. No, don't worry about it at all.
Okay. So these were the highlights of the online survey. Bullet point number 1, there were 3 things that came out of that survey. But bullet point number 1, the very first one, was the community felt that the single-family neighborhoods and mixed-use development are the most appropriate for the region. So, I stand here today and ask the board that a mobile home park is not a mixed-use development. It's just one thing, mobile home park. Secondly, as referenced, the Lancaster County Planning Commission, they came up with their own recommendation. And their own recommendation is disapproval of the rezoning for the above said reason. Because of the mixed-use development, the mobile home park does not allow for that. And also it does not allow for the high density, which is what is the parameters in the comprehensive plan are, and what the township, what residents of the township want. So, and the third reason I will ask the board to vote And the negative for this rezoning is that within a 1 block radius of the tract of land, there are 2 mobile homes with a 1 block radius, within a 1 block radius. So putting in a mobile home park, there will be 3 in that 1 block radius. To me, that's just a little redundant. So with that, I just implore the board to vote against the rezoning of the suburban residential land to mobile home park. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Yes, sir.
Doug Macklin. The proposal is to rezone this to R1, is that correct? Or the mobile home from R1? Right. And because R1 doesn't allow trailers the way it's written right now, it does not allow them, period. And I think Steve makes a good point. I was on the board back then, and he said 1.5 years, it was probably 2 years to develop that regional comprehensive plan. It was a lot of meetings. And it's worked well to this point, and I'm gonna go back to the point where, and I know the Lancaster County Planning Commission is an advisory to us because we have our own planning commission. Those who don't, have got to follow their rules. They're telling you that this thing is inconsistent with the plans that are laid out. It says it very succinctly. And I would, again, I agree with Steve, I would implore you to, not against Harvey, nothing like that, but if it's inconsistent, you ain't gonna change it by making it something else. It's inconsistent. So I would implore you to vote in the negative on that also.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Donnie Stover.
Could you, I'm sorry, your first.
Donnie Stover, DONNYSTOVER. I would like to say as someone who lives in a mobile home, that you vote yes for this project, because like ourselves, I'm the one who makes the bulk of our income. We have 3 children, and the only place we can afford to live is in a mobile home. So if you want community first, allow housing to those who make less money to be able to buy a place themselves and live there. So that's the way to make it community first, to allow all residents. We looked at buying houses, we could not afford it. So this way allows ones who don't make as much money as some of these people who don't want this project to live in this township. You know, not all of us make $100,000 a year. We're, one income families trying to support 3 kids and everything else to live. So I think yes to this project would be awesome.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Sue Macklin, from a real estate standpoint of view, Donnie is absolutely 100% correct. You must provide affordable housing for every level of income. I just don't know that I can go along with the zoning, but I guess my question is, are all the mobile home parks in the township filled, and is there any zoning left to build more? To add more parks?
I think not, right, Tony? No, there isn't.
We're at capacity, right?
Yeah, currently, yes. Currently, we're at capacity.
With the zoning? With
Whatever
whatever zoning
zone.
is all used up?
With capacity meaning with the number of parks that are allowed within the zone.
Within the mobile home park zones as exists.
So there's nowhere else to go for that, is what you're saying, other than do some rezoning?
May I just,
Yes, sir.
Just to clarify, I believe people know this, but I think it's worth noting. This is an expansion of an existing mobile home park that's been in existence for 50 years, so we're not looking for land to do that. again, when we presented this, and this would be the township looking at an existing mobile home park, very similar to, I think, your reasoning with Four Seasons, when you said this is existing, this is an opportunity, this is an area, and we can control it. So by doing this ordinance that's before you and controlling it, you have that designated space. What the Lancaster County Planning Commission is recommending, and again, my client is not opposed to this, will come with this next hearing, would be a text amendment that would actually have mobile home park be part of the residential suburban, which would be throughout as a permitted use for existing and then a special exception.
And members of the board, as I said to you, the next ordinance is not even consistent with this ordinance, because the zoning ordinance has mobile home park zoning district requirements. So mobile homes or manufactured housing would be permitted in everything zoned mobile home park. The next ordinance, if adopted, would also make expanded in all of the suburban residential suburban residential districts.
So it's broader.
It is broader, so it is, and again, it's not an inconsistent planning tool. The same use is frequently permitted in more than one district, sometimes with slightly different requirements.
I mean, honestly, Mr. Turner is a developer. We would not come in and knowingly reduce the value of his property if we felt that a mixed-use, viable commercial development, as is being stated here, would be able to be created, or a village overlay district could profitably be created on a 19-acre parcel. You know, we would keep that option open because, as I said, both options would allow us to go to a special exception if approved by the board.
It doesn't foreclose the expansion of the mobile home park. It again just offers another consideration now or in the future if that were to be done.
Any other questions, comments? Yes, sir.
Just one more, Doug Mackley again. I'm reading this from the language, I know you have a copy of it. The board voted to disapprove the proposed rezoning with the following comments. The proposed rezoning would eliminate the opportunity to develop an urban growth area site with a broader mix of uses and varied housing types. And it would eliminate the opportunity to develop land at a higher density as needed to limit any future growth boundary expansion. That was their recommendation.
You're 100%
I mean,
correct.
that hasn't been talked about.
Well, I believe I did. If you go up to the paragraph before that, where it says the proposed mobile home zoning permits by right existing mobile home parks, as well as agricultural, forestry parks, and single-family detached dwelling uses. It permits new mobile home parks by special exception, but the maximum permitted density is 5 units per acre. Now, the second part that you read says that the R1 permits a wider variety than the proposed mobile home park district, so it gives a wider scope. Of significance is the R1 inclusion by right from a village overlay district that develops village-like design, provides mixed-use variety of housing types and residential densities up to 8 units per acre. That's what I was addressing to the board when I stated that my client, a developer, would certainly not be opposed to allowing a broader scope for development, but very simply put, sir, we don't believe that we could do a village overlay or mixed use on that property.
Don't disagree.
The second thing is, it says, aside from this, R1 permits by right single-family detached dwellings a maximum density of 4.3 units per acre if public water and sewer are provided, which it is. So if you look at the two paragraphs, you're really looking at a density of 5 units per acre or 4.3 units per acre.
And outside of a mobile home park setting, a mobile home or a manufactured house is a single-family detached dwelling.
Right, and so they could put those, and I believe you were here before when Mr. Turner and our John Fuhrer, the engineer, discussed this, but as with everything, there are stormwater issues that need to be addressed. There will be other issues in land development. So the idea that we're going to get you know, you're gonna try to put it out, but there's gonna have to be some give and take on that. So I would suggest that that 4.3 becomes probably even a little bit closer when you're in the development process.
Testimony I heard Tuesday night in another context is it's probably 20% less than the maximum density to accomplish all the required improvements.
We had another one first in the back, 1 second.
Yeah, hi, David Hollinger. So the two existing mobile home parks are near our business. They're good neighbors. And this one here, I think, fits a good mobile home park. They're all in the same area of the township. There's no other areas. And as we know, we have 900 employees and they're, all different levels of income. So mobile homes have a place in our community. And I think it's a great place for it. Pottsville Road is a small road, limited weight on that road. And so commercial there, I don't think mixed use commercial would make sense there. So I really affirm what the developer is proposing as a business neighbor, and think it's a really good idea. And I think your planning commission was a majority supporting it as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Steve Brubaker, I just want to, again, just refer to the Cocalico Comprehensive Plan, again, that you guys have to look at tonight. On page 45, we're talking about high density numbers, and the reason why the Lancaster County Planning Commission and the Cocalico region is promoting high density is because basically farmland. What was happening was in the years past, developers were coming in and they weren't doing high density and it was taking away farmland. So the paragraph that I'm going to read talks about the data. The urban residential density writes in here, East Cocalico Township is consuming more land than necessary because we're building at lower densities than we should from 2002 to 2015. The average density of new residential development was 3.1 units per acre. From 2015 to 2019, the average density of new residential development in the Cocalico urban growth area was 2.2 units. So we're actually going down, going backwards. So what we need to do is actually raise that. That 2.2 units is significantly lower than the 6.5 units per acre target set in places 2040. So again, and to not beat a dead horse, but by putting in a third mobile trailer park, you're not increasing the diversity of your housing stock, which the applicant, according to his lawyer, says that he would be willing to do to add more diversity of housing stock to the area. A mobile trailer park does not do that, which is what the participants in the survey want. Community first.
Members of the board, unless there's any other public comments, we can go back to the applicant before you close.
I think I've made my position clear.
We have one more. Yes, sir.
Daniel Burton.
Could you spell your last name?
Sure. B-U-R-T-O-N.
Thank you.
I think what Mr. Brubaker is referencing with that survey, currently now, I'm going to ask a couple questions if that's okay. So currently right now, the way it's zoned, we could have 8 units per acre there now from a high density standpoint, the way it's zoned currently. But we don't think that the village overlay from places 2040 would adhere to that section of land, and I agree with that. I also would like everyone to remember that Places 2040 is just a suggestion to our township. It is not what we're supposed to be following, because I don't think they're, anyway, well, that's a different conversation. As far as putting 1 unit or 5 units per acre, or whatever that would be from a mobile home standpoint, I think that's acceptable from what Mr. Stover was speaking of as well. Mr. Brubaker's numbers of the housing per acre going down to 2.2 in Cocalico Township, or in East Cocalico Township, people are going to buy what they want. So that in and of itself is a survey. So if folks are getting a ½ acre to an acre for their house, that is what they're coming here for. I don't think if we had a choice between a house or a mobile home or a single family unit within, 5 within an acre, is worse than an apartment complex or multiple high-density residential units. Couple that with Pouts Hill, if we put 8 units per acre there instead of maybe 5, I don't know if you can put 5 per acre, I don't know what your plan is there, but again, we talk about infrastructure in all of our other meetings. If we put high-density village mixed use on Pouts Hill right there, we now have to redo Pouts Hill. So, in my opinion, I think, the survey is in what is actually selling when we talk about real estate and marketing this township. And if people want less density, that's why we're at 2.2 now per acre, as opposed to the proposed 8 or whatever Lancaster Planning Commission wants. I would recommend that we allow the expansion of what's currently there, because that would, again, should not impact our infrastructure. We've already heard from some neighbors, and it does create a different housing mix, so that's my opinion.
Thank you. Close the hearing.
Motion to close the hearing.
I make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Motion a second, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Yeah, got anything?
No.
Yeah, no. I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-04 to amend the official zoning map of East Cocalico Township to rezone a property at Pouts Hill Road from the suburban residential zone to the mobile home park residential zone.
I will second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Nay.
Motion carries 2-1.
Members of the board, we now turn to ordinance number 2023-05, which is an ordinance, if adopted, to allow existing mobile home parks as permitted use in the suburban residential district, and to allow new and expanded mobile home parks as a special exception use in the suburban residential district. As you heard in the testimony presented and read in the written recommendations from county planning, this would be the alternate, in some respects, to the ordinance that you just adopted, but it is not inconsistent with the ordinance that you just adopted. We would now take the result of the rezoning of that approximate 20 acres and permit the same use, a mobile home park, again, to the extent that there are any existing mobile home parks in the suburban residential district, those would become now conforming uses, but any expansion or new mobile home park would be a special exception use in the suburban residential district, subject to the same criteria and conditions as you heard in the last hearing under, bear with me, section 220-108 of the zoning ordinance. The suburban residential district is depicted on the zoning map that Ms. Mejia presented as a part of her exhibits, and the lands closest to and adjacent to Adamstown Borough, located in the core area of the township, and adjacent lands to the Turner property that you just described to the south of Denver. Jen, do you wish to say anything more? Or have you said enough?
I said, having the decision on the part of his as that states, our client wouldn't be opposed to this, but having his property be specifically rezoned It is not really specific to him, so we don't really have a position on this.
Members of the board, I should read that.
Yeah.
I do suggest that you take administrative notice of the testimony that was already presented in the hearing 2023-04 ordinance, that you may consider it to the same extent in this hearing, and it's now a part of this record. And if there's any additional questions or public comment, we can address it.
Public comment? Please state your name.
Doug Macklin. So if I understand this right, if any of us right now live in a R1 zone and it's not fully developed, there could be manufactured housing in there, even though if that person bought their house thinking they're gonna be kind of standalone, is it gonna be forced on them?
So,
It's either yes or no answer.
no, it's not. So a manufactured house, a mobile home, however you want to describe it, under our ordinance, a single structure on a single lot is a single-family detached dwelling. Many of them, several of them, in a coordinated development, is a mobile home park. That's currently only permitted in the mobile home park zoning district. If this ordinance were adopted, mobile home parks would be a special exception use, which is a kind of permitted use in the suburban residential zoning district. So that requires a minimum lot size of 10 acres for a mobile home park. So to respond to Mr. Mackley's questions, mobile homes as single-family dwellings on single residential lots are already permitted wherever single-family detached dwelling units are permitted. Adoption of this ordinance would permit mobile home parks on minimum 10-acre parcels in anywhere in the suburban residential district.
So more could possibly pop up.
Correct.
So it goes back to the previous question surrounding capacity. You could potentially, you will be increasing capacity.
Correct. Of a particular type of dwelling unit.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Steve Brubaker. So, by adopting this ordinance, the township would be setting a precedent for other residential folks to come in that have more than 10 acres to put on a mobile trailer park?
I don't think precedent is the right word, but how I describe it, if you adopt this ordinance, you're inviting people to come and comply with it.
Yes.
Any other questions? You guys have any questions?
No. Motion to close the hearing.
I make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Motion on the ordinance.
We have a motion on the ordinance.
So we can exit the hearing with no action taken. Then finally, we have a public hearing advertised on resolution 2023-12. We don't typically have a hearing on resolutions. This is a special procedure for consideration of adopting of a comprehensive plan. We're taking this action under the municipality's planning code. For all intents and purposes, the procedure is no different. It's just that the result that you would be considering adopting would be a resolution and would be to adopt the comprehensive plan for the Cocalico region as the comprehensive plan for the Cocalico Township. And as Dan Burton pointed out, this is a plan. No action that you take can be invalidated to the extent that it's inconsistent with this plan. But it is a plan that you would be required to take into consideration for whatever weight you give it on all future land use decisions, which could be rezonings, zoning amendment text amendments, zoning ordinance text amendments, land development plans, stormwater management, and the like. Any questions for the board? No? Then public comment.
Public comments, please state your name. Seeing none, I make a motion to close the hearing. Second. Motion second, all in favor, aye? Aye. Motion carries. I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2023-12 to adopt a comprehensive plan for the Cocalico region as a comprehensive plan for East Cocalico Township.
I will second that.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries.
So, members of the board, that concludes the 4 public hearings we have advertised for this evening, and I suggest we take a brief break so Melissa may pack up and go home. Although she's welcome to stay for the interesting stuff here that hasn't come yet.
All right, we'll take a quick 5 minutes break. We'll be back. All right, that was fun, a nice break, right? Let's not get used to it. All right, we're back in action. Next item on the agenda is the Fenderson Development Company LLC 2023-04. Claudia is here for representing that as well. Welcome back.
Good evening, thank you, and I'm also joined by James Maglioli with Fenderson Development. So first, I want to explain the purpose for which we're here this evening, which is a very limited purpose. We have submitted a rezoning petition to the township, and we are simply asking for the board to accept that petition and to refer it to the county and township planning commissions for their review and consideration. So the board is not voting tonight on whether or not the rezoning should be adopted or approved. All that you're doing is forwarding the ordinance along through the process. I do want to reiterate a few points which we shared with you when we made a previous presentation to you. I believe it was back in February of this year, about the reasons behind the proposed rezoning. Because I know there have been some concerns, as were expressed early in the meeting, about rezoning to industrial, and there is a component of industrial rezoning as part of this project. So again, Fenderson and James can certainly answer any questions you have about the property owner, the company. It is one of the largest privately held real estate companies in the United States. They have over 800 properties and more than 50 million square feet of space in 40 states, and have a portfolio that includes a variety of different types of uses, including shopping centers, warehouse, industrial, office, medical, hospitality. So this is a very large development company with a large reach in terms of the relationships it has with potential users for sites like this. The property is about 57 acres that Fenderson owns. They've owned it since 2007, so they've been here in the township for quite a long time now. It's shown on the map, it's up on the screen as well. It's bound by roadways on 4 sides: North Greenstown Road to the north, Colonel Howard to the east, Spur Road to the south, and Louch Road to the west. Currently, it is zoned planned commercial, 5 separate properties that really are functioning as a single property. In terms of the history of this project, which I think the board is well familiar with, this property was rezoned to C2 commercial in 2006, and there was a proposed regional shopping center with a variety of retail and restaurant uses that was slated for development on this property. That shopping center was approved in 2008. There was a conditional use approval that was part of that process. The plan for the shopping center was conditionally approved in 2009. Obviously, plans for the shopping center never moved forward. We had the economic downturn in 2009, then another 10 years of Benderson attempting, without success, to find tenants that would be interested in leasing space on this property. And then I would say that the COVID pandemic was sort of the nail in the coffin for not just this project, but for really power center, if you will, or large shopping center projects throughout Lancaster County and beyond. So at this point in time, we don't think it's viable to develop this entire 57-acre parcels as a commercial shopping center. So what we're proposing here this evening, we believe represents a compromise that would allow some commercial to exist on the property while also having some industrial, which we think we can get users for on the site. And again, simply asking you to refer this along through the process tonight, not asking you to make a decision, but I do want to provide that background. So the proposal would involve ultimately this, I've got this upside down here, the subdivision of the property into 3 lots. There would be a convenience store tract that would be about 9.69 acres and be developed with a 6,879 square foot convenience store, automobile filling station. We have a lease in place for that user now. There would also be a 15.9 acre lot in front that would be rezoned to C1 commercial. Convenience store would be commercial, lot in the front would be commercial. The idea would be to continue to try to bring in some commercial uses on this property along Colonel Howard Boulevard. The back portion of the property, 31.76 acres, we're asking to rezone to industrial and proposing to construct a warehouse on that portion of the property. We've also talked with staff about possibly including a park and ride somewhere on the site for folks that are commuters and sharing cars in this area. We've had multiple conversations with staff about this proposal. We presented this proposal to the Planning Commission in March. We were in front of you in May to talk about this proposal. And really, again, all we're here tonight to do is to ask you to move this along through the process. So we're happy to answer any questions that you have. That's our request this evening.
The convenience store use, is that permitted under current zoning?
I believe it's permitted under current zoning, but we have asked for that to be rezoned to C1 as well, so the whole frontage would be C1.
Mr. Baglioli.
Yes.
Good evening again. The 2 weeks ago at our last meeting, there was extensive conversation about how commercial businesses wind up one exit down the highway in Ephrata, with center after center after center being built. Many businesses coming in, a wide variety. There's no tax incentive out there to bring them in there, but we do have the alert in place here. So what's your opinion on why this happens there, but it won't happen here?
Since 2009, especially since COVID, what you're seeing is tenants wanting to look in areas where there are already lots of tenants. So you're seeing a growth in areas that have commercial, and they're not expanding outside that because they're trying to attract all the users to one place. And so they're feeding off what's there. When we came into, and I've been with Madison for 2 years, I started at the tail end of this project to improve. We had a great project. Right? We had signed leases at that point. So we just turned it without signed leases. Those tenants broke those leases to get out of that project and paid money to do it. Right? They've expressed it. And when I tell you we're the largest private developer in the country, we market the site all over the country with tenants coming here, commercial tenants.
Some of the residents can't hear you. Speak up a little bit.
We market this property all over the country. We did big shopping center conferences, we deal with all the national tenants, we show them this entire property. The link for large shopping centers is not happening anymore, so the entire property cannot be used for commercial. What I see in the future is with the convenience store use on the corner, and some impetus to develop in the back, right, we could do some restaurants and small shopping up front, right, and make a mixed-use project, have all three uses here. Have the ability for fueling station convenience store, have commercial with restaurants and small retail, that we could probably attract here. And we've started already marketing that for small, much smaller retail, right? Something like on the side of Starbucks or a Longhorn or items like that. That's what we're gonna target up here. And obviously, the uses work well together. That half of the property is not gonna be commercial, especially if you develop your small commercial up front. We've been marketing this, I've been here 15 years, we kept this approval alive for 10 years. We were paying our attorneys to come back and keep it up, so we're trying to sell that, we keep it, sell that development to users, right? We're gonna change the boxes, we've got poles, or everything else, we can just modify those uses. When I tell you there was no interest for 15 years, there's been no interest, so I'm not here. But I do think we already started marketing this for small scale development, and showing this plan, we are getting interest in that. In that direction, so the town can have the shopping they want to throw on the road. We can have some employees in the back to help this, and then we have a signed lease with the store. So those are the three things we together.
Can you give us some examples of projects that Anderson is in planning or in construction? What's being built, what's in your portfolio in our larger region?
Our larger region, I'll go with the Northeast, right?
Sure.
The Northeast. All right, I'm doing a lot of medical uses, so you've got the uses that come out of the hospitals, right? We've got kidney dialysis, chemotherapy. You're seeing those uses go to small properties like this, right? They want to be out of the hospital to provide their services and have people in workplace manufacturing and those uses. We're seeing a lot of restaurant development. Right, we're doing a lot of restaurant development, small scale restaurant development. You're seeing a Longhorn, you're seeing Outback, you're seeing some of the tenants you don't have in this area expanding out. A lot of Starbucks, we're doing a lot of Starbucks. Right, I'm doing no shopping centers. I have done small scale shopping centers, buildings are 7,000 square feet, a lot of that size building, right, where you get small multiple tenants, which is kind of where I see this headed. I am doing a lot of warehouse projects, especially post-COVID. You're seeing a lot of users, you go to Home Depot, it says you can order in the store the next day. Right, they're looking for 50, 60, 70,000 square feet, they can store stuff in the building. Right, we're buying off a couple of hotels, and we build car washes. We're doing 3 or 4 car washes currently in our portfolio. You're seeing a mix of uses, but nothing that would take the entire, no commercial use shopping center would take a property this size.
Are you seeing opportunities to mix the uses, a medical use with some commercial?
We are seeing a mix of that, right? But it's all small scale, but the medical use I'm working on now, the building is 20,000 square feet, right? It abuts a commercial, industrial use behind a similar configuration, and then a small shopping center on the other side. So if you lay out something like this, you see a shopping center over here, you get the medical use over here, you get some industrial in the back, right? These things tend to flow together, especially on this side, because you can really separate the warehouse from the back of the side from the commercial in front, so the traffic doesn't intermingle. We are seeing that kind of mixes.
And are you seeing the industrial use, for lack of a better word, using the commercial?
The employees there certainly use commercial. And what you're seeing is these that building, we have a number of employees there. We go to restaurants up front, right? What's nice about this side is you have the office building across the street. So we're seeing the ability to do that. We're marking that as we have employees across the street. You can come over and use the commercial here. So we look at the picture, right? They look at how much traffic again. When you go to market something like tenant, national tenant, you're looking at traffic, right? How many households are there? How much traffic is there? So we need to show with a picture that there's lots of people in the area who are going to use those facilities. We're trying to generate that number.
My curiosity is bringing me beyond this, this meeting. Does Benson also do multifamily housing?
We have done some, we are, we travel to Florida. In Florida, we're doing, everything including multifamily housing, right? In New York, we've done several multifamily housing projects.
So let me ask, obviously it's clear I hate warehouses, right? It's clear, everybody knows. I don't know if you're from Lancaster County or Harrisburg, or I'm not sure. I'm all about the high density commercial mix. Belmont and Lancaster, we're not talking big shopping center, Target, Nordstrom Rack, Whole Foods, all that good stuff. That's not coming here, you made it clear. If we do a miniature version of that, I mean, there's $400,000 or $500,000 homes right behind there. Then there's apartment buildings, townhouses. Worthington, right down on Morgan Pike in Lancaster. I know 2 business owners there, both restaurants with high-end apartments above. They're all rented out or sold, and the businesses are all in walking distance. There's nail salons, art studios, 2 restaurants, a bank. And they filled that up, and they have tenants on waiting lists. Another one is Oak Tree Development. Oak Trees is doing that in Hempfield. There's Starbucks. They're putting high density housing there. On Lingelstown Road in Dauphin County, there's one going on right now as well. And in North Cornwall Commons in Lebanon County. These are all active projects. So why can't we get something like that here? I mean, we just spoke that high density housing is a big thing. And you said you guys did some residential.
And currently, there's no market for it. We have had no, it's not, we don't create the market, right? We have to work within the market that exists, is the location work. And currently we have shot this property to residential developers. There's no interest. There's absolutely, can I tell you why? Yeah, it's a site that abuts a highway, right? Lots of road noise, right? It comes across the site, you see it, putting high-end houses on a site that abuts a highway is not really what people are looking to do. You go to some of those areas where they've done that, they're building those big 25-foot walls to try and buffer the sound. If people buy the house, it's going to start complaining, right? You got a 5-lane road across the way, not conducive to residential, right? Especially the traffic pattern. There's no interest in this site for high density commercial residential. None. And so when you look at how we have to do market analysis, we don't just. I was a town attorney before this. I work with towns on rezoning properties. You can rezone it for what you want, but if you don't consider what the market is, you're never going to get what you want. Right? When I tell you, we market this for everything. And there's no one bigger than us. So I'm not here saying, if you deny this, you're going to get high density residential. You're not. What we're going to look at is, you will come in with this project, we have it signed, it's consistent with the zoning, right? They may or may not go without this, that may change them, right? We'll try and market it for another 15 years. And we never make anything back here. If we're lucky, we'll get some small uses up front. And that's how we're marketing, right? You get commercial up front, that'll set your road corridor with commercial uses up front, this up front, at the back of this property, it can be put to good use in this area. And it's conducive to this use basically because you have to raise extra on the highway, right?
I'm not sure I totally agree with the whole noise thing and stuff, because Worthington, we talked about that, if you end to go to 220, 230, there's $600,000-$700,000 houses they're building, and they can't build them fast enough, and now, on both sides of the highway.
So how much of that economy are you getting here?
Well, you guys aren't marketing it as that. You're marketing it because you want a warehouse, so I'm assuming that's what you're marketing it as.
We've been marketing it for anything for 15 years. We don't just market it for one thing. We don't sit here and say, we have this property, you can't do something on it. That's not how we operate.
So have you marketed for high density buildings?
We have talked to developers. I'm doing some high density with a partner in New Jersey, right? We have showed all these sites to them, right? We got 40s in New Jersey, we're doing a project in. We showed them this property, they're not interested. It's not for lack of, we don't just market it for this. This is what we've gotten to based on how we're marketing. We just don't pick a use and come in here and ask for approval.
Mr. Becker, let me step in for a minute. Lorenzo, I don't think you understood or heard what the witness just said.
I understood
They're
perfectly.
the largest developer in North America. They have been actively pursuing the property. The answer to Jeff's, we had this conversation last meeting and the meeting before. Described clearly to our community, you don't have a catalyst, and you don't have an anchor to attract people. I believe that was what was just said. You know, we don't have.
No, well, I see here, I see all these coming here, you get a small grocery store there, right? It's gonna be small in front, 20,000 square feet. Right, can you get a couple restaurants at that? Yes, that's how we're trying to market this, right? The small shop development, still gonna leave us in the back of the site. Right, and you have interest in this type of development, right? And it'll be a mix of uses.
And if I'm not, well, let me say this. I believe this is still a risk as a development for your company, is it not? Because you're still going to attempt to market the front of that, but there's no guarantees you can market the front of that.
We're gonna push the front really hard, but there's no guarantees, you know, when I tell you, we have talked to every small scale developer historically, but there's been nothing on the property, so there's no interest to be here, right? Part of it is you gotta build a mass, right?
The anchor.
And you gotta show some light. And, you know, the best thing we got currently is the convenience store gas station use, because that is, if it's a well-known user, I can't disclose their name yet. When they go there, they tend to attract other people, and you see them adjacent to restaurants and other types of users like this. So between the two uses, we're hoping to make the front property much more interesting, and we are marketing it. We can't use their name yet, but we are marketing it.
So why don't we try to get that in here and market the whole property with them in there?
Because they will probably not go without something like that.
But that's your assumption.
No, that's what we do. That's not my assumption. I'm not here guessing, and I don't lie. So, you know, I'm here because we've been at this, we've approved a shopping center here. We paid lawyers for 10 years to keep that not keep it alive. I paid a bill every year to come here and keep it alive. We marketed that. That's not happening. Right? We're seeing no high-end development, residential going back. So, you know, and if we lose the back here, we may lose the front. So that's where we are. This is the plan they signed on to.
It seems like you guys are very attached to this property, obviously. You've been here since 2006, 2007, right?
We're attached to all our properties, so we don't sell.
Well, right now we're talking about this one.
Yep.
I am with this community, that's why I got involved.
Yep.
I said this previous times and I'll say it again. I own a business in the community as well. I see hundreds of people every day. People want commercial.
And I want commercial.
If we keep building warehouses and taking 20 acres of warehouses, people don't want to get stuck behind 35 trucks just to get on 222. That's my standpoint.
And I'm offering small scale commercial, is what I'm here to tell you. The entire site's not gonna go commercial.
How does, there's been a reinvention of Rockville, along Route 30. You're probably well aware of that. There was a sprawling commercial development there, all kinds of different stores, outlets, everything. That didn't work. They're reinventing it. They're reinventing it with high-rise residential.
It worked for 40 years.
It did work for a while. I mean, 4-year lifespan for a project is actually good.
But at that point, you know, along a major stretch of highway there in Route 30, and they're making it work. They're moving ahead with that idea, those plans. That won't work here, you're saying?
We're not. I'm just telling you, we've shot it. It's not gonna work. There's no interest. There's no interest.
Jeff, what are you asking? Are you asking whether mixed use could, with residential, be built here?
It seems like, as Lorenzo said, and I've seen it in several places, that's where the reinvention of these things is going, or some of the more recent designs in the last 5 years. And, you know, why not here? Why not here?
Because they offered it, nobody wants it, that's what he said 13 times. So you just say, okay.
I can tell you why not. I don't know why not. There's we've been trying to do something with this property for a long time, right? If we had someone that built high-end residential in the back and split it off or work with them, we would certainly do it, right? I'm doing it in New Jersey. It's not something that's not our, we're capable of doing. There's no interest. And I don't control that. Right, so we gotta work within the market we have, and we have a viable project, which the town wants commercial, we left a third property for commercial, and we will drive that train. But, that's where we are.
We had a question in the back, yes, sir.
Hi, Steve Brubaker, and this question is for you, sir. You mentioned, obviously, there's a sour taste for warehousing in this area. You had mentioned that your business, that you guys also develop medical for like outpatient satellite facilities. That seems like a reasonable option, I would think, if the board would be willing for that. I mean, I would think that there would be a market for orthodontists, for physical therapy. Yeah.
Who's building those buildings?
We are building those buildings.
Maybe the wrong question, who's the prime tenant?
We got it, we generally work with like Oklahoma healthcare providers, so, we got Slide Health in Buffalo, we're doing a lot of.
The healthcare system.
Yeah, so they come to us to business, right? We market, we show them properties, and they say, well, remember, and we become commercials driven by household numbers, right? They take a radius of where you are and count the amount of houses, and they say with medical, right? They look at where they're serving people from, and then say, we did intervene in that area and put the chemo here, and how all the people coming into the hospital, right? So, can this site work for that, and this line? Certainly, but those are smaller scale buildings though, that's not.
But my point is, it's the healthcare corporations, it's not Dr. Smith. Dr. Smith no longer owns this practice, Dr. Smith works for Tower Health.
We're seeing very few individual, and we've done a lot in the past, individual doctors and dentists. We see a lot more bigger operations, you see some national dental organizations.
Let me step in, having a spouse in the medical field. All practitioners are selling off to larger hospitals.
This is what the literature is saying, that doctors are no longer management, they're labor.
And the reason that is the bureaucracy in terms of the reimbursement rates for their, for seeing the patients.
And, Jeff, Penn Medicine, like the General Health, owns land in West Earl, one. Exit south. Tower was, the rumors were that Tower was coming here, but they have their problems down east where they're selling hospitals.
WellSpan has the property over in Effort on the other side of 322.
Correct, right.
Penn State Health also is expanding, so there are health systems out there looking to expand and build satellites.
So what we're currently doing is we are going through a market analysis on behalf of Benderson that I believe Benderson has made very, very clear they have been doing for years.
Just one curiosity question, your C-store is in pretty early on this project in my experience.
This user, if they've seen the site and they've seen the plan, they would go first knowing that we got to put it together. They would build first. They're someone, they're very well named in Pennsylvania. They're someone that would attract other commercial users, which is what we're hoping. The warehouse in the back. But we're marketing for, if one of those healthcare systems wanted to put a 20,000 square foot medical building here, we build it. Right? We're marketing this all over. Right? So it's not for lack of trying. We don't make money. You don't make money on making property this vacant for 50 years.
And I think I misunderstood something you said earlier. You're marketing for occupants. You're not marketing to other developers.
We don't sell. That's what that's.
You said that later, and that's why I said I think I misunderstood your earlier comment.
We own and operate, and we're the people that want to deal with. We're all over the country. I deal with supervisors and manage all over. We don't sell our properties. And that's why That's why we keep coming back, that's why we kept the shopping center alive. For a number of years, we thought we could redo that, we could make that project work. We're gonna change our plans, we market it to every tenant. You know, we reach out to hospitals and see if they want to expand, we usually succeed.
Any comments? Yes, sir.
Dan Burton, earlier you said something, I'm sorry, sir. You said something that about regarding traffic not commingling. I'm not sure, looking at this and knowing the roads around that, how traffic would not commingle at that. I mean, I'm assuming that convenience store is more of a truck stop, and that's why they want the warehouse behind it. But there's not really a lot of egress from that property for a lot of trucks and commercial, and there's no way to not commingle unless you're using roads off to the side.
They are gonna.
I can't see it from here, so.
There's a main access driveway to say, no, that'll work for both users, running commingling, those trucks don't have to drive through the commercial to get to where they're going. So they're not gonna be circulating the commercial site, they can go straight in and straight out through the back. Right, those trucks, you know, at warehouse facility, those trucks are spread out throughout the day. Traffic for commercial centers is usually peaked, right, Saturday mornings, in the afternoons, and evenings, right? So the traffic actually works together. What I mean is they don't have to circulate around this commercial site to get to where they're going. They can come in and out. The driveway was designed for a large shopping center, and we go and, you know, PennDOT go through the driveway, and it works for this type of development.
And for the C-story, you're proposing a second access.
We are.
On the lower category road.
Second access right over here. Not for trucks.
Correct.
That's
Just pass
vehicles.
Question, would the spur road be
David, please.
improved? David Hollinger, would the spur road be improved on this? Because that traffic is heavy on the spur road now.
On Colonel Howard, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, right.
So my recollection is that the plan that you kept alive showed substantial improvements to Colonel Howard, and since then, PennDOT has done some of that.
A number of those improvements were got done. We have a new traffic study that goes along with this. Last time we had a traffic engineer, we can bring in this time.
Is that TPD?
Yeah. And we will use them throughout the process. We will make the improvements that are dictated by the study. That weren't made, there were any additional improvements. They'll go along with this project. Some of those improvements got made. The shopping center generated actually a lot more traffic than this, so the numbers are a little bit different.
Any other comments or questions?
So the members of the board, the ask tonight is to send it to the planning commission. So that's it, not set a hearing, not do anything other than that.
So I'll make a motion to refer out to review and to rezone certain properties along Colonel Howard Boulevard, as submitted by Anderson Development.
We have a second? Motion dies.
So I believe you sit out the next agenda item.
So for the board, a small project, stormwater management plan, agreement, easement, the plan calls for an infiltration trench. The applicant has agreed to abide by the operations and maintenance standards of the township. Applicant provided the security, required escrow. Township engineer has reviewed the plan and is agreeable to that.
Members of the board, I have a statement from Lorenzo that you is abstaining from the discussion further on this plan because of his financial deficiency with So, questions? Yeah.
Okay. There's a development agreement on property that Lorenzo owns, I think that's fair to say, to the public. He's unable to vote on this. Small stormwater plan with improvement guarantee and maintenance agreement. And I guess if there's any questions on that, we'll entertain them for a motion is made. Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve a stormwater plan and improvement agreement and maintenance easement agreement at 320 Millwood.
I'll second
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
it. Aye.
Aye. So moved.
Next on the agenda, stormwater plan, agreement, easement for parcel 1, Lawrenceville. The applicant is proposing burn swales, agreeable to the operations and maintenance and the township as opposed to the required security and escrow. In addition, the applicant has requested through waivers for stormwater requirements. The township engineer has reviewed the rate waiver request and is agreeable to that request.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the stormwater plan waivers improvement agreement and maintenance easement agreement at Mones Hill Road, Lot 1, QPN 080-69429-0-0000.
I'll second that.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Next up, a stormwater plan, agreement, and easement at 1339 Red Run. The applicant is proposing a rain garden, agrees to abide by the operations and maintenance handbook of the township, and has posted the required security and
I'd like to make a motion to approve a stormwater plan improvement agreement and maintenance agreement, easement agreement at 1339 Red Run Road.
I'll second that.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And at 203 Royal Horse, applicant proposes infiltration trench for the board's consideration, stormwater management plan agreement and easement. Applicant is agreeable to abide by township's operation and maintenance standards as opposed to the required security and escrow.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a stormwater plan improvement agreement and maintenance easement agreement at 203 Royal Horse Road.
I'll second that.
Royal Horse Way, sorry. Motion and second, all in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries.
The Lancaster County Conservation District and Township have discussed and presented to the board a memo of understanding in that the Township and Conservation District do lots of things in common with regards to stormwater and the SWAR requirements. Memo of understanding identifies which party is responsible for what activities for certain areas, from the MS4 minimum control measures and various other topics. If this looks familiar, it was probably presented to the board in 2022, and it was adopted. It was agreed upon by the county and the conservation district at that time. It was scheduled to come before the board at some point last year, but it didn't do so. We just realized that we had not adopted the agreement, so if it looks familiar, you've seen it before. The agreement, memo, I should say, has been reviewed by the township solicitor.
It's a fairly standard agreement between the conservation district and a municipality that needs to account for size with MS4 responsibilities.
One of the components that I noticed, they're walking away from any responsibility about permitting waters, ponds, streams, stream banks, anything like that.
Dams.
That too.
DEP's trying to get out of the business.
Yeah. When it gets deferred to them.
Yes, yep.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a memo of understanding as to certain MS4 responsibilities with the Lancaster County Conservation District.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Before the board, a request to extend temporary use for the health court at the Stevens Fire Company. Be a 90-day extension. The current temporary use allowance expires
I think there's somebody here representing them.
I don't believe that anyone here is from Air Methods.
And I'll make a motion to extend the Air Methods health court use at Stevens Fire Company for 90 days, and that will run to January 18th of 2024.
Jeff, before you go any further, gentlemen, is this going to get submitted here till the end of the year, January 14th, or is it going to drag on for another 18th? 18th, excuse me.
Yeah, engineers working on it.
I'll second that. Motion is second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The local Cub Scout group has requested a road closure to accommodate their annual Cubmobile race. Specifically, they're looking for board approval to close Eversole Road on Saturday, October 28th, from approximately 6 a.m. to noon.
I remember we did this last year. I make a motion to approve the closure of Eversole Road on Saturday, October 28, 2023, from approximately 6 a.m. to noon for the Clubmobile event, weather permitting.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Savage, you're taking note of that, yes. I did. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a request from the East Cocalico Lions Club for permission to conduct a toll road event at the intersection of Church and Reamstown on November 24th from approximately 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
The yearly things as well. Make a motion to approve the East Cocalico Lions Club Toll Road event on November 24th, 2023 from approximately 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. the intersection of Church Street and Reamstown Road.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Next up, a letter of resignation from Public Works laborer Dan Casco from his position with the township.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Daniel Tasco, Public Works laborer.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries.
And a letter of resignation from Teresa Antoro from the Recreation Board.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Teresa Amaturo from the Recreation Board.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, thank you, Tommy. Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report. Total general fund bank account list of bills in the amount of $151,812.70 for the week of October 12th of 2023. Any questions on that list? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Motion is second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, general fund bank account list of bills in the amount of $33,247.02 for the checks processed and delivered on October 18th of 2023. Any questions on that list? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
And general fund bank account list of bills in the amount of $9,774.37 for the week of October 19th of 2023. Any questions on that list? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, and we have an electronic payment list of bills in the amount of $85,281.52 for the pay period of September 24th of 2023 to October 7th of 2023. I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Motion and second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That's your treasurer's report.
Thank you. Department reports, the police, you got anything?
Yes, I do, thank you. The chief's report for September 2023, some notable arrests, at least one. Reading man was arrested after a lengthy theft investigation that occurred at the business in the 2200 block of North Reading Road. Subject is charged with theft by unlawful taking and defiant trespass and is accused of taking auto parts worth approximately $800. Officers located 4 subjects in East Cocalico Township, 1 subject in Denver Borough, took them into custody on outstanding arrest warrants. They were all turned over to the issuing authorities. We did a week-long speed study in the 800 block of Ridge Avenue. We get complaints about speeding, so what we do is we'll conduct a speed study. The posted speed limit there is 35 miles an hour. The highest speed recorded was 90, and that occurred around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The average speed during the week of the speed study was 44.19, and again, it's a 35 mile per hour zone. Another week-long speed study was conducted in the 500 block of Main Street in Denver Borough. The posted speed limit there is 25 miles an hour. The highest speed recorded was 61. The average for that week was 25.53 miles per hour. So now we did a traffic enforcement detail in the 800 block of Ridge Avenue. 8 citations were issued for speeding violations. The highest speed during that detail was 58. Again, it's a 35 mile per hour zone. Another speed enforcement detail was performed in the 100 block of North Reamstown Road. 17 citations were issued for speeding violations. The highest speed was 50. And again, that's a 25 mile per hour zone. Another speed detail was performed in the 400 block of Haunstown Road. 23 citations were issued for speeding citations. The highest speed recorded was 60, and that's a 35 mile per hour zone. Couple more. We were busy with traffic enforcement details. Another one was performed in the 200 block of East Lancaster Avenue in Denver Borough. 14 citations were issued for speeding violations. The highest speed reported was 50, and that's a 25 mile per hour zone. Another speed detail, enforcement detail was conducted in the 700 block of North 6th Street. 12 citations were issued for speeding violations. The highest speed there was 53. Again, that's a 25 mile per hour zone. Another speed detail was performed in the 100 block of Main Street, Denver Borough. 5 citations were issued for speeding violations. The highest speed recorded was 45. That's a 25 mile per hour zone. During the week of the Denver Fair, we had several officers attend the fair. We don't perform security there. They hire their own private security, but we always have boots on the ground, if you will. We were also there for the firework event. It was nice to get the fireworks back at the Denver Fair. On September 15th, Officer Odenwald attended Kitty Day at the Denver Fair. She distributed coloring books, coloring pencils, and other goodies to the kids, to the children. She also had a cruiser on display and invited children to come in and sit behind the wheel of her cruiser. Officer Odenwald performed 3 roadside child seat inspections, 1 in Denver Borough and 2 here in the township. What they do there is she'll set up signs and it'll indicate that law enforcement is conducting child safety seat inspections. If the motorist would pull over in a safe location off the roadway, and again, it's totally up to the motorist, and then Officer Odenwald and a couple other officers would actually perform child seat inspections there right on site. Our school resource officer, Eric Fisher, performed a bike rodeo at the Swamp Lutheran Church in Reinholds at the request of Reinholds Cub Scout Pack 95. Officer Fisher is a certified bicycle officer, and he taught bicycle safety to the Cub Scouts. And finally, Officer Weaver, McCabe, and Stauffer completed the 3-week accident reconstruction. This is the 2nd tier of this training, and all 3 are members of the Lancaster County Corrections.
Thank you.
Is there more tiers to that yet, or is that?
There's one more, but it's unknown if we're actually gonna send them to that or not. We're talking to some specialists throughout the county to see if that's a requirement. At this point, I mean, they're right up there, but they got called out, I think, twice now in Graphic County. One in Manheim Township, most recently, for a fatal crash, just to assist the crash team. So it's valuable to have their expertise.
Thank you. Nothing to report from finance, public works, building zoning, MS4. Got anything?
Just briefly, I've been working on updating the self-inspection forms for the BMPs. Owners of property with stormwater basins and other facilities like that are required on an annual basis to do a self-inspection and report back to the township. Thus far, we've had very poor compliance. Only a small fraction of the people are doing that, so I'm doing new forms that are simplified with more instructions on websites that they can look at. And we probably at some point in the future need to looking at a way to make those mandatory inspections required by ordinance.
Okay. Thank you. Information items, gentlemen, you got anything?
No.
New business? Old business? Act 172, tax credit for volunteer emergency responders. You guys got anything?
Yeah, I guess last time, when a letter was read about two of our companies consolidating, that's the news I guess a lot of us have been waiting to hear. Over the years, as much attempts happen and not come to fruition. So, with that being the case, I'm wondering if we ought to hold back on the tax credit to try and hold, to see if they can move forward successfully to this consolidation effort. We're looking at our budget meeting starting next week, and I think it'll give us a better look at where we are going next year financially. I guess with the latest monthly update, we're now through 3/4 of the year. There's certain budget items have a nice surplus to them. So, I want a little clearer vision of where things are headed for next year. And any way we can help the companies that want to consolidate, I think it's behooves us to be there for them. And I would encourage the other company to try and be part of the process as well. I think it's important for our companies to try and all work together for a common goal in the township. So that's my comment for the night.
And just to share a little bit, the township manager informed the board last Friday that we are still receiving Act 172 responses. I don't know if the residents recall, we had the manager reach out to other municipalities that have Act 172 in place. To date, the responses have generally said the tax credit, A, did not add new volunteers, B, does help to retain existing volunteers, and C, did not create morale issues among those qualifying. More information to follow as we get it.
I received a few more responses that they follow in line with that.
I had noted, I had reached out personally to the board president of Exeter and Gettysburg. I only got one response from Gettysburg, and that's pretty much what I got as well. Noting, he did note on his board, 3 members are volunteer firefighters, so it's kind of easy to get it approved out there. He did note that, so.
That was a borough, right?
Yeah, he's very borough. Yeah.
3 of the 5.
He noted that too. Yeah. He was one of them, and that's why I think at the end of the year he said he's done, so. Not seeking reelection. He made that clear. Anything else? You got anything on the Act 172? All right, moving on. Healthcare insurance plan.
Okay, so what I want to do is give some of the current residents, the newer ones that are in these meetings, a little bit of background. So in 2018, and Doug and Alan, you guys can keep me in line here, I'm going strictly from memory. In 2018, when we were looking at that strategy and looking at all the costs and budget analysis, one of the things we had talked about was trying to figure out how to greatly reduce the medical expenditures and the medical costs, right? I believe it was at that time that it was explained to me that we were looking to, we were with Blue Cross at the time, and we were looking to migrate towards, we really wanted to migrate towards Benetcon. Benetcon is basically just a conglomeration of many municipalities, and the laws allow them to all group together, so you have a massive pool of individuals. Okay. So this municipality attempted to move towards Benetcon, and we applied annually for over a decade, is what I remember. So for well over 10 years. Okay. I will just describe that the underwriting pool that we had at the time would not allow us to move into Benetcon, even though we kept trying to move into Benetcon every year. So what we decided to do is we took a couple of steps back at that time, and we took some steps in terms of, I know, Jeff, this one's near and dear to your heart. You've been telling me about this for 7 years, I don't know, 8 years, 7 years. So what we did with the underwriting pool was we put in a number of items. One of the items we did was the supervisors are entitled under an ordinance that we have in place that goes all the way back to 2000, that goes back to 95. It would.
State laws allow that since 1977.
Correct. But each municipality puts it in place. And what it is the supervisors are allowed to participate in the group health that the rest of the staff is doing. So what we did at that time was we started looking at how to, number one, improve our underwriting situation and keep reapplying the Benetcon. And number two was how we could save some money versus what we were actually incurring cost-wise with supervisors. So we put those plans in place, and at that time, we were looking at about a 52% increase on the medical coverage. We were looking at about a 22% increase back in 2018 into 2019. And some of the changes that Doug and Alan, that we made at that time allowed us to do roughly a 16 to 18% decrease at that time. Again, this is all from memory, which resulted in almost a 48 to 50% reduction for the supervisor portion of the medical. Okay? So we reapplied again in 2019 to Benetcon with some of the changes that were made, with some of the changes in the underwriting pool, and lo and behold, in 2019, we successfully were able to get into Benetcon. Okay, so we have been with Benetcon since 2019. We did not want to make any changes at all as supervisors going forward to how the plans were being implemented in terms of supervisors participating. We didn't want to make any changes at all until we allowed 3-4 years or so, a number of years to pass, so that we wouldn't set off any red flags or anything like that. We didn't know, after trying for so long to get into Benetcon, we didn't want to make any drastic changes in the insurance at that point, which might cause them to look back and say, wait a minute, you're not part of Renacon anymore, we just didn't know. So we left the supervisors receiving group health in place, okay? At that time, I was on the plan and I did not participate in anything. Meaning I did not get reimbursements, I didn't do any of that. All we were trying to do was improve the underwriting of the plan to get into Medicare. Okay. At that time, there's also records that the municipality knows nothing about that I will read. They're my HR records. Okay. And I have documents that I submitted to the municipality annually that state, per the above reference letter, please note that for the following for your records. As of this correspondence, I have incurred numerous personal deductibles for dental, eye, optical, and/or other medical for which I have not sought and will not seek reimbursement. Attached is a personal check dated 3/7/33 in the amount of $849.28 for my donation back to the township's health insurance expense account. And at that time, there's another letter that I have here where I state clearly that I'm donating the supervisor pay back to the municipality. Okay. Since then, I found out from an accounting perspective on a personal basis, that created a nightmare on my personal taxes. So I had to take the pay as a supervisor, the whopping $3,100 a year.
When did that start?
What's that?
When did that start? When you had to start taking the pay supervisor?
That's after I did my tax returns in 18 and 19.
For over 2018.
Yeah, I had to do that. Yep. Because I'm not a tax professional, and I didn't realize the mess it would create.
So those letters are dated 2018, you're saying?
Yeah, June 1st, 2018. Yeah. So the point is, what I'd like to do at this point going forward is the medical for each supervisor, again, it comes out to roughly, I'm rounding, roughly $30,000 a year. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to put in place and start the process of amending ordinance 2013-09 so that the supervisors no longer participate in the group health plans. And basically that's why I'm bringing that up. You know, we've got an increase from, roughly of 12% approximately. Yeah, for family coverage for this year. So again, we have our own policies, so it's something, now that we're in Medicon, we're established. And the underwriting has changed such that we're there for 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, for 4 or 5 years. I'm comfortable with making that change.
So what does the state law say for sitting supervisors that are at age 65 or older? What does the state law say?
I don't have state law in front of me. I'm looking at the ordinance.
My recollection, and I can look it up while you all continue the conversation.
It says that all supervisors should use taxpayer money only for supplemental, for insurance, and be on federal health care.
Well, I'm not 65, no.
No, I'm not saying you are, but you were making comparisons to boards in the past and how savings were found. So, you know, I'll leave that at that. State law says that age 65, you should be on federal health care and use taxpayer money only for supplemental insurance. So I find it interesting now this has become a focal point of yours with just a little over 2 months left in your term.
And I knew you'd bring that up, Jeff.
So, where's that been for the last 4 or 5 years?
Just like I said to you in many private conversations, including individuals that I will not point to in this room, just like I said to numerous times, there's an underwriting issue. We need to get into Vendicon first. We need to get established into Vendicon because of the underwriting issues. Mr. Bird, you just walked in. For over a decade, we attempted to get into Vendicon and we were denied every single year.
That's
Due
correct.
to the underwriting pool.
That's correct.
So, just because it's underwriting, you're on the insurance side, you understand. So, as I've told you numerous times in our conversations, no, Jeff, you can't get rid of it right away. We're in Vendicon, we don't make any major changes, we let it go a couple of years, and then we make the changes.
I think our representative might have said in the last several years that supervisors being on the policy doesn't affect the rate one way or the other.
So you have your opportunity now. Do we eliminate it going forward or not?
It's state law, it's available to all supervisors. I look at it personally. I made a decision of my own not to participate, and I haven't cost the taxpayers $1.
And I don't use it, so.
But the insurance is there with the cost.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a personal decision on anybody that sits here, how they want to approach it. That's how I've approached it. I'm self-employed, most everybody knows that. Pay for my own health care. It costs me a lot of money every month. Could easily say, let the taxpayers cover it, but I don't do that. I'm effectively a volunteer sitting here, and several others in the room. So, and I'm aware of that proudly. So, no, I'm not going to make a motion like that. I feel like each supervisor has the ability to go to the public however they want. If they want to be a volunteer, fine. If they want to take the insurance, that's fine too. Public comments at the end. Let them deal with the public as they want to. That's how I deal with it.
Yes, ma'am.
In response to Sue Mackler, in response to Jeff, that was not your take years ago. You were very concerned. Very concerned about the supervisors that took the insurance. You spread it all around the community. You had friends, it caused a big rift. You were very concerned about other people's insurance.
Well, and I've lived up to that, my words, every day of the week. I'm not taking a dollar of yours or anybody else's in the room.
Alan and Doug.
Tax money.
Alan and Doug got all the insurance because of you. Most of these people in the room weren't involved in the township. They don't understand, they don't remember. But those of us that were, we remember. You hounded and hounded. You went around individually talking to people. We know it.
Can I get you a copy of state law?
Doesn't matter, it was there for the taking and it didn't suit you. But not today, it's okay with you.
There's a lot of things that are okay now in 2023, right?
What changed? What changed? Do you target individuals? That's what it looks like.
I'm not gonna go there.
I saw another question in the back.
I stand on my record.
Another question in the back, no? All right.
Good.
All right, public comment. Please state your name for non-agenda items only. Yes, sir.
Doug Macklin. We just got done talking about it, but yes, I will testify under all kind of oath that Mr. Mitchell, Robbie, Alan and I, and Noel for years and years and years before he became a supervisor about being on the insurance. I've been retired for 16 years. a real job. When I got eligible, I had the township reimburse me for my secondary insurance, period, end of conversation. I don't own a business like you do. And I know you're on the township insurance policy. I find that hard to believe, that the business owner, whether you're a supervisor or volunteer or whatever, would be on that plan. It's my opinion, Jeff's smirking, but that's fine, I'm used to it.
Any other questions, comments, non-agenda items? Go ahead.
Sunak. I noticed you took off on the website. Weren't you looking for volunteers for like the TIP committee? Weren't you looking for any volunteers?
Still there?
It's still there? Have you had anybody step up to the plate? Nobody? I know someone who volunteered for the TIP committee. They personally told me they brought 3 letters into this building, one for each supervisor. Did any of you not get a letter from a lady in the community who wanted to be on the TIP committee? She personally brought the letters in here to be put in your mailboxes. Do you have mailboxes?
Yeah.
Do you have mailboxes? If I brought a letter and wanted to give you a letter, can I put it in his mailbox?
Personally, you can't, no. Will be handed to the secretary.
Right, and she puts it in a mailbox? How do you get your mail?
We pull it from our mail bin. The mailbox.
You have a
We pull it
mailbox.
Right, we pull it from our own mail bin.
So where did her 3 letters go?
To her question, now that we did get one. About 8 months ago, if that, probably maybe a little bit more. It might have been in January, actually.
I think it was before May.
Are you talking about June?
That's the one we got.
No, she just brought it down. Maybe this summer, I don't know.
I didn't get it.
Yeah, she did.
No, we got one early in January. I didn't get anything recent. Not just brought it down. No. I check my mail almost every day, except for Saturday and Sunday, but.
No, I didn't. Jeff, you did?
No,
Well, then that's
We
a
get some
problem.
stuff.
She walked into this building, handed it to Lisa. Lisa said she put them in the mailbox. Where did they go?
We can check on that. We can check on it. Obviously, if someone hands you something, it's a problem.
Well, no, wait.
Yeah, well, perhaps you can tell that person to get in touch with the manager.
Well, the point is, she offered to, on the TIP committee.
Well, it sounded 3 supervisors saying we didn't get it, so
That's
she can
scary.
offer all she wants, we
That's
didn't get it.
scary. I'm gonna bring a letter down and see where it goes.
Put a tracker on it.
Well, it's unusual that 3 letters are missing.
I don't know what to tell you, I'm not here 24/7.
Well, if June offers to, sit on the TIP committee, we do approve that.
Well, that's a discussion that happened when the letter comes in the door, gets put on the agenda, just like anything else, and we discuss it.
Let me answer. With all due respect, Susan, it's inappropriate for you to ask on her behalf. Is that
Okay.
fair? And then for us to answer that.
Okay.
I don't know whether she's asking or not, I haven't seen the letter.
Oh, I did, I saw.
So in fairness to her, we haven't seen the letter yet, we shouldn't be making a commitment or
Okay.
answering that. Is that fair?
Sure.
You understand?
But again, how is she supposed to if she already hand carried letters here and she?
But I think the,
If she directs it to the manager, it'll probably get to us.
the action item is, could you, if you speak with her, or please ask her, send it to Tom.
Will you get it?
Of course.
He doesn't make the decisions, though. You make the decision.
No, of course.
I hand that on. You could also go on the website and with one click, email all 3 supervisors.
Okay.
And that's something new, and it's actually worked in the last 2-3 weeks. You hit a button and we get emails from, all three of us get emails from anybody that wants to email us, direct.
That is,
Or you email manager@ect.town and he distributes every Friday, same packet to all three of us. We all get the same information. There's two different ways. Yes, sir.
Steve Brubaker. Just for those who are interested, speaking about the upcoming election in November, the municipal election, that Republican headquarters will be having a poll watcher training. Actually, it's tonight, but also on October 24th, between 6 and 7:30 p.m. for anybody who's interested in doing poll watching. And then you can become certified, and that way you can go on election day and be a poll watcher. So just regular information.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Tyler Eberly on behalf of the Remote Lancaster Chamber. Just wanted to, we had written a letter in regards to the Benderson tract in particular, but on a grander scheme in the need for high density housing and our belief that that represents what the business community wants. Benderson tract being a great example of a property that is up for zoning change. We wanted to make our voice heard. We think that's appropriate for the area. I professionally deal with a lot of companies, businesses. As an example, East Hempfield Township, which I think you had mentioned earlier, where there is, you go to somebody's house and they're on their road, there are dozens of young professionals. I feel like we're really missing out in this area. That's the thought of the chamber. I should speak from the chamber's perspective. We're really a tough environment for our employers to keep young people, attract young people, and not necessarily looking for the examples given for high value homes on that Benderson tract. I think probably what we would deem the need being is the apartment from the $1,200 to $1,600 range, which sounds ridiculous, but that's an affordable entry-level apartment at this time. So our opinion would be, again, as on behalf of our group, is that that is a huge need for this area, and we have a golden opportunity at that location to help our employers. And one other thing, bringing full circle, dealing with the school and knowing their, loosely knowing their numbers, we graduate 250 kids a year, 230 kids a year. Many of them go to college. We hardly ever get those kids back. We are a huge talent drain in this area, and it's just something we need to do something about. So I think that's a great opportunity to try to stem that tide a little bit.
Thank you.
Quick question for you. You just mentioned that talent drain. Are you saying that across the entire county, or are you saying that around certain regions of the county?
I'm saying
If you have that data.
I don't have any data. I go off what we hear, what I see professionally. No, I think it's always been that way. I've been involved in the school for many years. Going to Cocalico, graduating in 06. The example I gave was I think we graduated 280 in my class. There might be 5 of us that are in the area that got college degrees, and that is not the end-all be-all. Professional designations, straight to the labor force are all great. This is not anything against anyone like that, but we have a great school system, we have a great community, and we're losing out on people that should be part of the community forever. We're just not keeping them. So yeah, back to your question, RC. It's not just here, but we certainly are, we're losing the Lidditz, East Hempfield as an example, even Marietta, Mount Joy, Lancaster City, obviously Philadelphia, Westchester's always been, the things, but we could do something about it finally.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
One more. Jeff, you've been very, very serious, and you've mentioned it many, many times in different meetings, that you're all about saving farmland. That'd be a fair statement?
Sir, good morning.
So it's a fair statement. I guess, why then did you vote to eliminate 15 acres on your ordinance 2023-04 this evening?
It's not so bad.
It is. There's 15 acres out of the 19 is
Suburban residential.
Then I'm staying corrected, but the last thing I saw was 15 acres was ag and the rest was something else.
It's all suburban residential.
Okay, I stand corrected. Thank you.
All right. The next Cocalico Regional Leaders Meeting will be held on Tuesday, October 24th at 7 p.m. at St. Paul's Church on East Main Street in Adamstown. Board of Supervisors will next meet Thursday, November 2nd at 7 p.m. at the Township Building. Just want to remind everyone, our food drive is still in place. You could drop off any non-perishable food items. And our budget workshop, our first meeting will be Thursday, October 26th at 7 p.m. here. Second, Tuesday, October 31st at 7 p.m. here at the Township. Third is Thursday, November 2nd at 8 a.m. Fourth is Tuesday, November 7th at 7 p.m. And our fifth is Thursday, November 9th at 7 p.m. All 5 meetings will be held here at the Township Building. And it's on the website as well. So if I spoke too fast, sorry. ect.town, all the information you want about our township, it's online.
And if I may add, those are workshop meetings. Workshop meetings, they are open to the public and they are recorded. You can just note they are recorded with minutes.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries, thank you.